that in this mid lane, he's got this very, very high mechanical
Radiant
level that he can
team
perform
ban.
on certain heroes, like the SF. Even like the DK, I could see them maybe even trying to bring that one out in this sort of meta. And the same for Ramses as well. We're seeing him bring stuff back like the Ursa that historically he's had absolutely amazing performances on. And again, I wouldn't put it past Ramses to even play a game on a Sven or a Gyro, even though they're not rated as highly as others would say.
Ben rates the Sven very highly.
Radiant team
Yeah.
ban.
Otherwise, not really.
Otherwise, not really. All right.
Yeah. So they choose to ban out the Underlord instead of the Juggernaut, which we thought was probably the lesser of the two evils for them. NP also have first pick, so they can take the Juggernaut if they like. However, I think Luna is probably a better opener for them. What do you guys think?
Luna opening for NP.
5 seconds
If
remaining.
they go back for the same Darkseer ban. I think Darkseer is a really good ban because it makes the Spirit Breaker a lot weaker, and it also makes their offlane just much weaker.
Okay, they go for Luna instead.
Okay.
So NP should have worse team fight out of their carry at least. I don't know if I think they could get away with opening Darkseer here, but it's a little scary because it's the first pick, and it's much better when you get your guaranteed core, like your pairing.
10 seconds.
Whereas VP, I don't think they'll pick Spirit Breaker or anything, but they can definitely grab heroes that are going to be very good against it. Jug, very good against Darkseer in lane, just because you can spin to kill Ion Shells. You have Sustain with your healing ward. With that said, maybe if they get a really good mid hero, they can force Jug mid and give Darkseer a more favorable matchup, but...
it seems like they were ready for that. I mean, with the immediate duo coming out with Jug and Rubik.
10
I mean, honestly, AUI really held that game together. They were very behind, but a couple good eclipses, and he continued to stay on the top for net worth. Luna's a hero that allows a really good player to do that, just because your ultimate is so good. Ramses usually does it as well.
Okay, early Ember Spirit, but we've seen how good Envy is with that already.
He has been absolutely amazing on it today, and something was mentioned in the early drafts as well in the previous matchup, how good this combo is. Having Darkseer and Ember Spirit together, it's kind of this mid-game Iron Shell Flame Guard, run at them, chain them, it's disgusting.
Yeah, and Virtus.Pro are going to see this straight away, aren't they? As soon as they see the Darkseer, they know they're going to go Jug Rubik, they know the Ember's coming next anyway.
It could have been a different hero. I think Spirit Breaker might have been, they might have been thinking about it, but it's not very good versus the Rubik. The Ember Spirit was, I would say, far more likely to be banned out in the second phase. There's an Oracle, I think, that can actually be very good.
Been played, is it?
No, but we also haven't seen too much Darkseer Ember Spirit. You can dispel the Ion Shell and the Flame Guard with one spell, which is very, very nice. And Rubik is not very good in lane versus Darkseer. I don't think Rubik Juggernaut is gonna be able to zone out the Darkseer at all.
It's definitely a little hard to kill him. They have good damage, I would say, but zoning him, it's difficult.
10 seconds remaining.
I mean, they have so many 4 options. I think it was just clear that picking Ember was a lot safer than something like Mirana. Mirana can be zoned decently, whereas Ember has a more stabilized laning stage, I'd say, than Mirana does, just because higher base damage, more skill usage. He can get kills a lot easier with just about any other roaming hero. I don't think he's amazing versus Jug, though. So I think the support pick that MP goes for is going to be really important here.
Do you think one of the supports obviously they keep really liking to pick is the Warlock? Do you think they could try and put that in their lineup MP once again?
It's very good at zoning as well. It can kind of play a role similar to Ogre in that it can bully people in the mid lane especially. But historically, NP always puts it in their safe lane with their carry. Almost always. So could be a pick, but maybe there's better options.
Yeah, this has been banned out by Virtus.Pro. And then Nyx in play.
Nyx is going to deal with both the Ember Spirit and the Darkseer.
They could even do a 1v1 early game. I haven't seen that in a while. Nyx is rarely skill mana burn early, but in the past it was an option.
You always want a way to kill the Ember Spirit when he's split pushing. That phase of the game almost always happens when he gets BOTs and you're grouping up, and Nyx hasn't always poses a constant threat to Ember Spirit unless he doesn't want to farm with Flame Guard, which is also a little bit risky.
Especially the new magic damage build. He almost has to use it. I mean, he could go back and go the other one, but it's a possibility. I mean, Rubik's already resisting his damage.
You're so fragile, though. You don't have any armor, nor do you have any HP. Like, the Veil build gives you a lot of armor and HP, which I think are his biggest weaknesses.
But I feel like he's pretty good against Jug Rubik. Like, Jug is not a big deal for Ember Spirit. You just use your ulti to jump out of his Omni Slash. Obviously, there's a lot of stuns from Rubik and Nyx, but it's probably better just to do other pick or other aspects of your draft around solving those issues. I think like Nyx is definitely a big threat for Ember for split push. But I feel like if Ember gets a really good start, he could definitely just run over this early game.
So NP don't have any of their supports just yet. How do you deal with the Nixon lane?
It takes a lot of damage, right? Witch Doctor
Crystal
could
Maiden.
work. CM for mana is an
Radiant
option.
team pick.
I'm not a huge fan of CM versus Jug. I think that's a pretty crap matchup from a support standpoint, but the extra mana can at least offset Nyx's mana burn in some cases. Ooh,
I mean, that's
okay.
one way of kind of dispelling the Flame Guard and helping
Tornado.
control the Darkseer with the Tornado.
Popular pick, but it's been an unpopular hero
Yeah.
in 7.0 and 7.01 so far.
Keep in mind they did ban it last game in the last phase, so they clearly do value the hero. It'll be interesting to see
10
if they do go
seconds
Quas
remaining.
Wax to break Flame Guard. It's a possibility. It's definitely a hero that can bully Ember
5
Spirit in the mid lane
seconds
in a lot of
remaining.
ways, but he also has to be careful.
I think Quaswag is really, really good because
Reserve
Did it get
time.
better?
I think it's way better relative to Quas Exort than it did before, just because
Yeah.
Quas Exort I think is a lot weaker. But also the Orchid later poses a lot of problems to Ember Spirit because they don't build Manta Style or Yules or whatever it may be to get out of the silence anymore. And Orchid's just not that common because you don't see Storm Spirits terribly often nowadays.
Even like a Sunstrike build would be really good this game with Nyx and Rubik too, though.
Hmm?
He could get
Yeah.
away with it.
I agree.
Radiant team
I think either build.
ban.
Is this a Darkseer Axe duel lane? Or are they going to do a 1v1 with Darkseer and then like a aggro duel, aggro try?
Man, this Axe is certainly kind of throwing a spanner into things. It's-
Mm.
I mean, if they do
10
run that as
seconds
kind of the
remaining.
combo, is this just looking to totally shut down Jug in the early stages?
5
Why are you
seconds
picking kind of these
remaining.
two aggressive offlaner heroes?
Axe can call through Jug's spin TP, I think is the big thing, is that it will be
Reserve
guaranteed
time.
lockdown. And now I think VP has to be a little concerned with the fact that Jug's kind of their only core right now. And if they do go Quaswex, Invoker won't be contributing as much damage as an Exort build, and less farm as well. So if NP now has the tools to actually punish in a lot of ways, and they get ahead, I think NP can run away with the game really easy with their heroes now.
It's very greedy, however, for the Crystal Maiden and the Axe. Like it's like two melee in your off lane. I guess VP don't have like a strong support in their safe lane. Rubik's can't really deal with that at all.
I mean, they don't have to do Darkseer Axe.
Yeah. Or what else would they put the Axe though? Axe safe lane solo, and then see, what would AUI play? The Axe? The Darkseer?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the
it's
last
weird.
pick, it could be Axe +1,
Yeah.
hypothetically. But I think one thing that I do like about MP's draft is that both Axe and
Dire
Darkseer can
team
kind of
back.
jungle anywhere. So even if the lane's going a little bit iffy, go hit up a medium camp, both of them are good at farming it. They've got to turn into kills after that, so I think the CM rotations are going to be pretty big here, as well as how well Axe does in lane. I think it's going to be big. Because with a CM, you don't have the best
10
hero to
seconds
offset roaming,
remaining.
for example. So if VP does grab a really good roamer for their last support, or
5
unless it's the next, who
seconds
knows, but
remaining.
then Ember's going to get pressured a lot in the mid lane. I think that's the one place that NP has to be a little bit worried right now.
Reserve time.
So as you say, you're looking more for sort of a roaming support rather than a support that's going to be able to stick in lane and help out the Jug against the aggression.
I don't know, it's
Dire
hard.
team
They got to cover Ember mid if there's roaming on him, and they have to make sure that Axe has a good time. Because Axe can be really boomer bust here.
Could you see them slipping through like an Omni support to finish it off for VP?
I actually like that quite a bit. Although Invoker Tornado can break the ulti,
10
but
seconds remaining.
I could see that being a pretty good solution. I kind of like it. They'd
5
be
seconds
very weak
remaining.
disable wise though. They'd be almost entirely reliant on Searing Chains for Ember or Blink Call from Axe. So I think it'd be
Reserve time.
pretty all in on no disable or Axe having a Blink Dagger at a reasonable time.
I mean, again, though, with the could they still look back and just get that Warlock for the team fight? Something to combo up with the vacuum. Oh, okay.
So this is 4 of the 5
Radiant team
heroes
Yeah.
that they picked earlier today. Axe subbed out for Spirit Breaker.
Or it's Darkseer. Could be either way. I feel like you give MSS the Axe personally, and have your 4 be the Darkseer, but
10
they
seconds
could they
remaining.
aggro try as well? I guess Jug spin's pretty
5
strong
seconds
early game.
remaining.
Yeah, I don't think you want to do aggro. I think you just play greedy with the jungle Axe.
Reserve
Do
time.
What about aggro lanes here? They're basically forcing Invokers can be mid, obviously. It'll be Jug in the safe lane. Maybe
I think that makes the aggro a lot worse because you have to worry about Sunstrike in your safe lane, which is
okay.
going to be pretty easy, I think, to set up with Rubik. Problem is who do they want to combo with? I don't really think they have like the best setup right now. Rubik and Nyx are pretty lackluster compared to Darkseer and Axe. Disruptor maybe? Like, I can't really think of that many other supports that offer good teamfight while being
Still,
with the Darkseer in lane.
Still a Shadow Demon in the game
Oh.
if they want. It's not very good laning, obviously, but well, it could work with Sunstrike, but it's overkill with Rubik. Maybe something more damage heavy.
What about kind of a silencer to help out lane the darks here?
Slada.
Okay.
Or a Slaughter. To completely mix.
So what are the lanes looking like here for VP?
Could be 4 position.
Yeah,
Slur
next.
4 is actually pretty good.
Slur
It's got a high armor, good disable. I think it's okay. It can also catch Ember Spirit. I think it's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll come back to the desk after this game one way or another. It'll either be 1-1 or 2-0. Can Virtus.Pro close it out? Let's find it out with our commentary team, Capitalist and Gods.
Indeed, indeed, Red Eye. It's either going to be 1-1 or 2-0 after this one. NP struggling on their tournament life here. Pick up a last pick Slark alongside this Ember Spirit and Darkseer. A lot of early aggression with those two first pickups, and then you're going to be able to have the Slark. A lot of pickup potential there. But Virtus.Pro have a strong team fight. Juggernaut, Invoker, definitely not Invoke right now, but seems to be a bit of a curveball that maybe catches NP off guard, Gods.
Yeah, it seems to be something that we kind of lean towards that Quaswex Invoker on the panel, the Tornado use against the Flame Guard, having the Dispel there, and just having a good kind of defensive option against the kind of run-at-you style that NP will be employing come mid-game when they get that like Veil on Ember Spirit, they get the levels on the Darkseer, so I think VP are going to have to be ready for some aggression, and they've got good heroes to deal with it. And Quaswex Invoke can be very tanky, hard to kill. Juggernaut's got the Blade Fury against the magic damage. Nyx Assassin, you've got Carapace, you've got the Impale, which can follow up that Carapace. So I like the heroes that VP have to deal with that aggression.
So do you give it the advantage based off of the draft?
I don't know about the advantage necessarily. NP can be very greedy. They're going to have Axe straight up jungling with an Iron Talon, so I think they can play this greed game early on. We'll see a and Smoke. Not finding Rose, but by all means, I think VP have a good draft to deal with NP, but NP could just straight up have a huge early game advantage here.
Oh, SVG, he's going to be running into the smoke here, but VP are not in position to be able to respond very well. Then they get the telekinesis onto Eternal Envy. What a save! It actually hits Lil, but they still have the stun coming out from the Nyx Assassin. Too many stuns for Jack to deal with. That'll be a first blood for a Nyx Assassin. Maybe an early pair of boots is in his future.
It's a happy Nyx. And maybe even an extra couple of bounty runes if VP can secure them. And it looks like they're going to go for 3. The bottom Radiant Jungle one may not be claimed though, as MSS is going to beat Pasha down there.
Yeah, I really like this idea by VP. We were kind of talking about it. I really felt like they were going to go for this last pick core and go aggro tri-lane. It felt necessary because of the greediness that NP presented, right? We have the Slark last pick. That is a hero that you want to pressure in lane oftentimes, and they have an Axe jungler. Absolutely necessary. I felt that VP go for this aggro tri-lane, and they've got a strong one too. Telekinesis into Crush into Spin. That is not something to mess around with. An instant stun is going to have a little bit hard for AUI to play around with, who can normally rely on Dark Path.
And they know the Axe is either jungling or dual laning down bottom with a Darkseer, so they knew this top lane is going to be a win for them. They've got a 3v2 setup against the Slark. AUI should not be able to get any farm up here. They probably feel very good about the 1v1 matchup with the Invoker against the Ember Spirit as well, in terms of hero matchup, as well as just no one in his skill, his ability. So all in all, I think VP are going to be very happy winning 2 of the 3 lanes. In bottom lane, they're going to get farm. They're going to get XP. Pasha's in a 1v1. This is not a losing lane for him.
I like how NP, they've just gone full greed. They're not even attempting, like, what's the point of SVG actually being up in there in the top lane? He would just probably be a casualty of war. So instead, he's been jungling alongside Rose, who's been taking the off lane and trying to do a bit of pulling. Eternal Envy takes a bit of damage here from no one, thanks to the Cold Snap and Tornado combination. And he does not have a Tanko ready to go, still on cooldown for another 5 seconds. So another opening like that, you could be in trouble, but it's going to be SVG trying to catch out no one. They do manage to get the long-range Searing Chain into the pole, and that'll be no one who's going to be caught instead. He has such a good setup, but a rotation from SVG turns things around.
Really, really nicely done. That's such a big kill to get when you're at a laning disadvantage. The lanes are set up such that VP win 2 of the 3 lanes and go close to even in the bottom lane. You've got to get kills. You've got to find some way to negate that laning advantage. Having a jungling Axe whose farming is not enough on its own, so very nicely done by NP to recognize and get the kill. Then they shrine up and NP's back mid. It doesn't really matter that he's now given up that first blood earlier and that he's having a tough time against the Invoker because of that kill.
Cool rotation from MSS. He actually pushed out after the minute 30 and went into the jungle. That allowed him to be able to kill a wolf camp as well as get the 2-minute bounty rune inside the Radiant jungle. It's now doing a little bit of creep cutting. Pasha does have, thankfully, the skill set to be able to pick up a lot of CS underneath tower, and he should get a very quick progression into level 6 and Arcane Boots.
He's winning the CS battle against the Darks here.
SVG done for. We talked about how if he kind of shows up in this lane, he's such an easy target to pick up on, and we saw it there with the telekinesis pull into the crush.
Surprisingly decent amount of CS on AUI Slark here. He's sitting on 11 CS, and with somewhat close to solo XP, he's already level 3 in a bit, so he's not doing all too bad, all things considered, with this aggressive lane up here.
The wrap around this time, it's going to be Eternal Envy, who's potentially caught by a rotation of a support. Solo is able to get there in time thanks to his boots, pulls him back, but Eternal Envy gets the Searing Chains, and the nuke damage just isn't quite enough. In fact, it's going to be no one in some trouble, as the Frostbite does a considerable amount of damage. Both cores of this mid lane are forced back. Long-range Tornado is going to snag Eternal Envy, but he popped the Fairy Fire. He'll be good. Meanwhile, bottom lane is a bit of a mess here. Pasha will manage to hit that stun. That was critical. Will allow him to be able to survive, it seems, with the healing salve going out.
Great play from Envy there, making sure he got his salve off. He knew that no one is just lurking around waiting to cancel it, so instead of using the salve and getting it cancelled, he just waits to see the Tornado fly and just pops the Fairy Fire instead, making sure he survives to get the salve off. And this mid lane is going to be turned around. Envy at least kind of holding his own, getting enough CS out of the
Rush, Rose, combo stunned up here. They still have Solo ready to go with the telekinesis too. So much disable, and it will be enough. Crush, a second crush. So that was 4 disables all ready to go for that axe. A very nice rotation by VP. It seemed like they just did enough to be able to put a little bit of pressure in that top lane and have fully rotated out, leaving the Juggernaut solo against the Slark. And that's pretty easy, right? He's got the spin against Frostbite as well against the Pounce. It should be a lane that Ramses won't die unless Rose can catch him with the Berserker's call on the spin. Ramsey starts making his way out. Rose sets up the trap, managed to get the call, and that'll hold him long enough for the other heroes to beat him down. The Pounce lands, and Ramses goes down.
Both teams making aggressive moves in the early. Very different to what we saw last game where we had these kind of static offlaners who didn't want to make too many moves. This time around we're seeing aggressive maneuvers from both sides, and it's MP who get the best of the Juggernaut there, take down one of the VP carries, and I think all things considered, NP will be a little bit happy with how this early game is looking.
Yeah, I mean, we said that, like, VP should have been able to win. Like, if all things were static, right, win 2 lanes and go even with the Nyx Assassin, he gets so much value, he doesn't have to win the lane, he just gets value out of being there in a solo situation. It all looks good, but these rotations from NP have certainly messed things up quite a bit. They're both jungling efficiently with the Darkseer axe as well as the Crystal Maiden, and they're still managing to keep up when it comes to kills. Currently, this kill score being 3-2.
Yeah, and they've forced VP to make moves, which means that the aggro trialing hasn't really served its purpose to stop the Slark getting farm and XP. Slark's already level 6, has Treads, Pullman Shield, is doing just fine in terms of overall net worth, so it doesn't really feel like VP's lanes have accomplished what they planned.
Pasha didn't actually pick up level 6 before he rotated up here to the top lane. It may cost him his life, but it looks like AUI is going to be able to finish him off with the Dark Pact quite easy. And Rose will continue to farm away. This is something that NP, thanks to their junglers, are actually getting quite far ahead. A little bit in gold, but a lot more in experience at this point.
This is big start, big kills, and they're picking up the Nyx Assassin being slowed down. He has Arcane Boots, so he really wants to start getting active with a level 6, but unable to do so just yet. Rose will get found out here by Solo, but this is just kind of a little scouting party. If anything, Solo's, well...
He may be in trouble. AUI stops to pick up the battleground, but they are going to be able to slow down Solo. Eternal Envy comes from his mid lane position to make sure that Solo does indeed die. AUI with his level 6, that pickup, the fact that they couldn't ever kill the Slark, and he's now got this level 6 so early on into the game, is going to pay off big dividends for NP. They don't have to worry about this lane, and he can make those kind of rapid rotations with that extra movement speed.
Perhaps we'll see VP look to start finding an opening to use something like an Omni Slash here. They have got the Mango on the Jug for that extra burst of mana, but that's going to be perhaps the big ultimate they can look to play around a bit now in terms of pushing towers, taking an objective, or finding a key kill.
Counter ward already set up here near the shrine, but I don't think anyone's seen Pasha just yet. I think it's a pretty obvious rotation though onto the mid lane. Eternal Envy does seem to be one of the better targets. Slark is going to be a harder hero to gank, but they could still pull it off. A Vendetta, not into a hit, but maybe a straight up impale is how they could get this kill. AUI not going to stick around for that siege wagon though, and that's going to save his life.
It's out of there in time. He's already got up to 1200 gold, so see whether it's going to be straight into the Shadow Blade or some kind of other build to maybe just make himself a bit tankier, get some more cost-effective items, but as it stands, he's going to feel a lot safer in this jungle farming. And this is one of the things where he can kind of free up that top lane. Either just ditch it because there's too much pressure up there, or leave it for his support while he takes some more of the farm in the jungle using that Dark Pact to farm. Just, again, it's the efficiency coming out from NP there. Utilizing more of the map. They're the ones taking the jungle. Even Envy in the enemy jungle at this point, looking to make some very aggressive plays.
Yeah, and if he actually finds one hero alone, right, the Ember Spirit is easily going to be able to kill that hero. And they can even couple with the Darkseer in the bottom lane to put a lot of pressure with the Ion Shell if he wants to. Ramsey's trying to deal with that Ion Shell. No one's actually going to push out here with an Invis Rune. See if he can catch SVG. He'll manage to land the Tornado into an EMP with a Cold Snap, stopping any of the spells from SVG. Makes it pretty easy for no one to find the solo kill.
He's got an easy escape as well if he needs to with a Ghost Walk, but AUI not going to even press forward. So Envy, see where he goes next. He just took a couple jungle camps, enemy newts, didn't manage to find the Bounty Rune to refill his bottle, so he's actually being forced back to base a bit here. It does seem like he wants to make a move. The Radiant Observer Ward scouts out this smoke gank in mid. Grows an SVG. TP'd in for this one, and that ward saw everything. It should have been reported now. AUI sitting on top of it with no Shadow Dance up, so it should be very apparent that that Observer Ward is in play.
Yeah. This is such a classic rotation too. Once the Axe picks up the Tranquil Boots and gets his level 6, you don't need to keep jungling away, right? The extra movement speed, as long as you have some sort of setup stun, which is where the smoke and the CM is going to come into play, it's very easy to make Axe rotations to wrap around enemies and pick up kills, speeding up that Blink Dagger even more. But as you said, it's been spotted out, so I'm not sure what they plan on doing.
Solo's still down there, so this may just be Solo saying, well, I don't think they're coming for me, they're probably smoking towards mid. He's just trying to get a bit more. If he dies to this smoke gank, it's not really the end of the world for him. He'll have a pretty short respawn. And
yeah, he's a level 4 Rubik. I don't think NP are real excited about the bounty of his head.
But if they can transition that into a tower, it would be nice. But that's something I imagine VP will be looking to protect and defend should there any additional pressure come. Ramses is not in the best fighting shape, a bit low on HP and mana, but could always fall back, use that shrine with his team, and kind of look to re-engage.
Yeah, our two heroes at top have TPs ready to go, so even if they did find the pickoff on the Rubik and push for more, I think it'd be pretty simple for VP to be able to establish control. I mean, especially because they really need to protect their outer towers, right? Because NP, they have such farm-efficient heroes who are able to take advantage of neutrals. You cannot afford to give them any extra space to work around.
And they're also playing without detection right now on the MP side. Not to say it's obviously something they want to fix as soon as possible, not to say it's a problem right this second, but that's going to prevent them really going for any towers. Trying to push tier 1s when you have no way to stop a Nyx Assassin initiation, it's going to be just impossible. So they can find a pick off on someone like a Rubik, but then they'll probably just fall back, keep playing the farming game, and wait to kind of really group up with Ember Spirit hitting like a power spike with a few more levels before they go.
Jackie, I don't know if it's all that serious. I'm dying in all chat.
So, always one for the melodramatic.
He's already got the quick buy set up for him to be able to get the Veil at Discord, so if there's any question about this newer builds of the Ember Spirit and whether or not he's going to be going for that, it is indeed the answer for Eternal Envy. I don't think we're going to be seeing that Battle Fury build anytime soon. It seems like the magic damage and getting that early aggression seems all too strong for anything else.
Absolutely. That's something which we'll see how well VP deal with that. They've got the null field from the Rubik to go with the cores, as we kind of talked about with the Blade Fury, the Quaswex Invoker. Although we'll see maybe any too earlier points into that null field. But MP, I imagine, looking to try and make headway as far as putting pressure onto VP. The Invoker's kind of limit, I mean, he peaks around that kind of level 10 stages of Quaswex, but he's still only sitting on really 3 core spells with the Tornado, EMP, and Cold Snap, so something that MP can look to take advantage of. They've got pretty good sustain when you throw in the CM aura. They can look to kind of continue to take fights even after getting a pickoff or two and turn those pickoffs into objectives.
So do you think, like, VP, I'm having a hard time looking at this 4-position Slardar and trying to figure out where VP are going to allocate their farm. Are they going to try and continue to play aggressive and actually move Lil around the map, or are they going to park him somewhere and let him progress a little bit towards that Blink Dagger and just play off of farming on the Invoker, farming on the Juggernaut, and then occasionally we'll see Pasha find a pick off here or there?
It's kind of awkward because Lil and Pasha, the Nixon side, they fulfill a similar role. We saw this earlier today, and the two heroes didn't really work well together because of that. I'd like to see them prioritize farm on the Slider just because Pasha has ways to initiate just through the Vendetta if he can kind of play around where the detection might be. Lil's also just currently a bit closer to the Blink Dagger, seeing on 800 gold to the 300 of Pasha, so giving Lil a lane, he also needs to not even level 6. So right now Pasha can be a lot more effective in fighting, defending towers than level 5 Slider can be. So give Lil a lane, get him to catch up on levels, get his blink up, and then if Pasha's blink comes later than the Slider, you're kind of okay with that just because you make sure you at least get one of the two at a decent time.
It does feel like a bit of a downside of the Invoker, right? I think it's something about this Invoker who's a little bit more of a farming mid than what we've been seeing from a lot of mids right now. A lot more tempo controllers, a lot more active heroes. Because they have this more farming mid, right, and they have a Juggernaut who usually wants to be at least be able to take some space, they're not able to play super active and punish the fact that NP are able to utilize their neutrals so efficiently. I guess it's not as bad as previous patches because the jungle can only be farmed up every 2 minutes, but it does seem like they want to play a little bit more of a passive farming game right now, but it's also the fact that NP are going to be able to out-farm you still.
Yeah, and on the VP side, you've only really got the Jug farming up the jungle. So we saw earlier Embers like in the Radiant jungle taking camps, and with that extra 2 minutes on those respawns, it just hits that little bit harder into the coffers. As MP just making more use of the map here, multiple heroes farming the jungle. They're farming all across the board. It's been a solid game 2 start for MP.
What else we got going on here? MSS. He obviously was quite prominently featured, I think, in today's games for NP. His last game of the Sand King was quite incredible. He's going to be playing this Darkseer who's gotten himself quite a large amount of farm. He's been matched up early on against the Nyx Assassin, so that wasn't much of a problem. He's going to have a fast mech, and then we're going to see him be able to follow that up into potential Blink Dagger territory. Do you think Blink Dagger's more valuable than, say, going for a little bit more pipe, a little bit more sustain? The Vacuum would set up, what, the Axe follow-up initiation, and that's kind of it?
Yeah, that's mostly... I actually think he's not going for the mech, he's going to be going for the Dominator. It looks...
Oh, yeah, the Helmet Dominator. Yeah. That just seems so strong when you have the Centaur and you put it, put an Ion Shell on it.
Free way to push out the lane and really zero risk. You can combo with the Vacuum as well. But I think going from the Helm to the mech, that'll kind of keep him busy in terms of farm for a little while.
It does seem like Helmet Dominator, I think I've seen multiple pros talk about it. It does seem to be like the rather OP item of this patch.
Yes. I mean, it's kind of maybe too soon to tell, but based on like the heroes we're seeing by it, it's kind of, I don't know, it's like a support item, it's a carry item, it's an off-lane item, it's
everyone gets one, yeah. You just get the free split push. It's usually these neutrals have really valuable abilities for early fights.
You're getting
nothing more
spell.
Yeah, there's nothing more annoying than like getting caught out because the small satyr is running at you and purging you, and you're just like, what am I supposed to do? It's too tanky for me to kill right away.
Both teams are ready, so we'll be getting ourselves back into the game.
And we'll see whether or not this smoke will successfully kill Solo. He starts backing himself away as the Ion Shell creep starts marching forward. Now, NP's kind of happy with this one if they actually manage to get somebody else instead of Solo, but that's just not going to be the case. Juggernaut has retreated deeper into his own jungle, and they're just going to have to take this solo kill. They do manage to surge up Rose, double slow onto Solo. They're actually going to be TPing in for this one, the telekinesis, but the Frostbite into the double Ion Shell creeps is too much damage over time for him to handle. They'll at least get the turnaround. SVG going to be caught by the Cold Snap and Omni Slash. The two cores of NP, though, are going to be pretty happy with that. It was originally a smoke that didn't really feel good. Then they traded supports, but both of these cores got a lot of free time in mid and top.
It's one of those VP moments where they're all on the same page, they're making a play and a decision as a team, but they misread the situation, and they think that's NP committing at least 4 or 5 heroes down bottom with that smoke. But it was just a small 3-man gank, get a kill back off, and VP bring all 5 while Ember's farming not just top lane, but also the top jungle, as well as the Slark farming mid. So that was incredibly valuable use of time for NP. Getting a kill with 3, having their 2 cores farming, and buying time where VP isn't farming because of the 5-man rotation.
Eternal Envy got a bit lucky there, hanging out in the Roshan pit, waiting for that 10-minute rune to spawn, and spawn it did. Double damage for him to pick up and trying to press the bottom lane. He goes ahead and TPs, already got the Iron Shell. He's going to be able to finish Shane onto Lil, easily burning him down. Rams is going to try and turn things around, but I'm pretty sure Envy is not too scared of this. He's got more backup coming in, but then again, so does Ramses. No one almost landing the tornado. The cold snap might just be enough. Eternal Envy almost dies, 40 HP. It's all that separates him from the grave. Pasha's pushing forward and may still look for a potential spike carapace initiation off these Ion Shells, but NP not going to stick around to be exposed to that vendetta.
Yeah, just not landing those tornadoes. No one's yet to find himself really getting into this game.
He had a rough time in the mid lane too. Do you watch? He just routinely missed Eternal Envy with the Ember Spirit and the tornadoes.
He was missing EMPs onto the Slark as well, so perhaps showing just some discomfort on the Invoker. Not a hero we've really seen him play all that much. The Quaswex Invoker also not really the common variety that most mid players are perhaps as used to.
Both of these heroes, AUI's Slark as well as Rose's Axe, are quite close to their initiating items, but AUI is a step closer. He's going to be able to finish up his Shadow Blade off of the neutrals being given to him by Rose. Rose is not too far away though, 500 gold for his Blink Dagger. NP could really start turning things up.
And they're going to make headway down this bottom lane. They kind of realize how low this tower is and how they can kind of take control of this easy access into the Radiant jungle, but not without a response. VP kind of see what's going to be happening at bottom lane and want to trade the mid.
AUI is going to ignore Ramses, goes straight for the heart of this team. No one's going to be targeted. That's a tornado used, and AUI, his initiation stalled up. Does manage to go into solo kill. Darkback should be enough to be able to get that support kill, but they've already lost their axe. Now the Omni Slash goes on SVG. That's another support down, and VP looking comfortable on their other 4 heroes. Quite tanky, going to be able to finish off this tier 1 tower.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for AUI, just the tornado hitting him as well as he wanted to go in. Takes the free Rubik kill in the end, but being unable to go on a key hero like an Invoker makes it a good trade for VP, getting a tier 1 tower as well as a decent pickoff.
One of the big things is that I've been kind of watching, following Eternal Envy's net worth, and he just hasn't really managed to get that progression into the Veil of Discord that we were really hoping. The 1 kill on Lil was a bit helpful, but he's been playing, I think, so off map that his farm efficiency, maybe he's the one hero who's actually been suffering compared to the rest of NP are usually ahead.
I think and part of it is some of the jungle changes. I keep seeing him like use the Flame Guard to farm a creep wave, push it out, and then he'll immediately fire Remnant to a Remnant he's already got in a creep camp, so he gets extra value in terms of farming with the Flame Guard, but there's just less neutraling time because of the longer respawn on them, and there's also less farm to go around because he's sharing it with the Axe, he's sharing it with the Darkseer, so it does feel like a lot of the NP heroes are fighting to farm right now. You kind of see it on the net worth. They've got 4 heroes all sitting on like 3.8k plus net worth. The Axe has got a good chunk of farm here, but it does mean that Envy himself has perhaps given up and suffered a little bit because of that.
Meanwhile, VP have a very clear hierarchy when it comes to farm. Ramses top of the board at 6,400, and no one taking second place at 5,500. Everyone else sitting a little bit lower on the table.
Those key items for NP will come up all at a similar time, from the Veil to the Blink Dagger of Axe. We've seen the Shadow Blade already of the Slark, but this kind of is a nice little timing window for them where suddenly their entire lineups hit this peak.
Go run to that side shop right now and pick up that Blink Dagger. You need it before this fight happens because the initiation is coming. AUI, he's going to immediately go for solo. Dark Axe is going to finish off here, so they manage to get the crush immediately afterwards. AUI, though, is still healthy enough as the Ember Spirit is coming forward, threatening to kill on the tornado. EMP goes down. They manage to get a pretty decent stun. With the EMP going down, no one's actually going to be able to survive through this one. And AUI, his ultimate trailing to an end here, has to back himself away. No mana to work with whatsoever. A crush forward does manage to catch him, and AUI just might die here. The call goes down. They manage to get the chop. The extra movement speed separating him from Ramsey. Unable to get that Omni Slash and has to spin himself away, it looks like. VP, a successful turnaround there, just at the right time with Blink Dagger coming in from Lil, and a value Tornado EMP. Jump in, still trying to follow this one up. Ramsey's ready to go. As long as he manages to get off this Omni Slash, it should be a clean win. He's going to leave Rose to die and actually goes for the extra kill. Unfortunately, bouncing back, but it looks like with Cold Snap, they'll still manage to get MSS and SVG. Solo rolls on in, picks up that kill as well, and NP just feeding away kills to be Virtus.Pro now. Solo is going to be targeted once again. He's like, why me? God, stop this. But it's God indeed. Pasha comes in, hits the impale, and Solo survives.
Some fantastic crowd control coming out from Pasha. First saving no one at the start of the fight with the multiple hero carapaces and impaled there at the end.
Oh, what's happening? They get in the crush, and now the EMP. A Triple He's dead as well. MP, they're drowning here under their own weight.
Well,
Tornado leading things off. Rose, don't tell me he's going to die as well. All right. VP's not going to go that deep, but I mean, what just happened? He just like gave away like 8 kills in a row.
To use the eloquent words of Ben Wu, they chain fed.
Yeah, that's one by one. I mean, the fact that like that first part of the fight, right, totally acceptable. But then the fact that he tried to go back in like that, it's pretty rough.
And I think it was just like very much like they felt that was their moment. They just hit all these item timings together. They made a really nice play surging the center into snipe the healing ward, so they thought they could just keep on chasing. But Jug kind of holding the Omni Slash till the end there and getting off a decent enough Omni Slash. It kind of bounced back and wasn't even all that great, but it was enough to just get the Darks here. They killed the Axe early on in the fight as well.
And if you can't actually use those items successfully, you're going to see VP just destroy you in net worth now because they've got hand of minus on both Pasha as well as No One, and No One already has his progression into the next item, the Yule Scepter. So you were supposed to be able to abuse these heroes when they didn't have like an actual fighting item and they had these farming minuses, and you had your big ticket initiations, but that very quickly went south, and VP, it won't be too long until they get some of their fighting items, which are more focused towards the mid game anyway.
Really, like the tankiness of a couple of those front lines heroes really just kicked in there, having like the bonus health on both Invoker as well as the Nyx Assassin from their talents, just giving them the extra bit of survivability, making all the difference in the world there, as NP will be kind of forced to reset, but they can't just reset and play a farming game. They kind of they need to hit their stride. They need to make some moves here, try and find some smoke plays, because sitting back and farming is going to be a losing battle against the Invoker Jug.
Counter ward is laid out here. They will manage to get a call. Nice read there by Rose. Managed to successfully read where Pasha was, but maybe that initiation was not a right idea. They're going to be hit this impale. EMP goes down. Eternal Heavy, fresh out of mana. The Omni Slash on the right-hand side, unsuccessful. They do manage to get a lot of hits to the AoE, and VP, they're going to be melted by this one. SVG with a beautiful freezing field will back this one up. That fight should have been so much worse for VP. They still may manage to recover this one, though. They're going to be able to pick up the extra kill. SVG just can't get out of here. Ramses has his spin coming up in a second. They have the purge creep as well. SVG's not getting out of here alive. It's only AUI who will survive through that one. That felt like it should have been just a clean wipe there by VP, but small turnaround plays by the Crystal Maiden.
Small turnaround plays. VP showing that coordination and just perfect chain stun. It looked like Nyx he had the opportunity to go for the 2-hero impale, but he waited. He was so patient, waited for the tornado EMP to hit, then throws the impale afterwards, and they even make sure they secure the tower there at the end. VP just playing better as a team right now, just coordinating all their spells, and they've got the kind of better team fight synergy with the chain stun from the Nyx, the Slaughter, the Tornado EMPs. It's a lot harder and takes a lot more finesse for MP to get that kind of vacuum into call, the Searing Chains to follow up. They are still kind of holding their own. They showed promise there, what MB can do with the Veil, and he's going to have a blade.
Uh-oh, Crush hits the Eternal Heavy. He doesn't have to jump out of this one, not in time. Already burned out of mana. He pops the wand, though, and that will be his saving grace.
I'll take that as tribute.
Every now and then you think Envy's done something a bit silly, and then he shows he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. It's a close one. They have the Manta now on Ramses. These initiations are just going to get tougher and tougher. You've got Yule Scepter on No One, Manta on Juggernaut. Those two cores are going to be quite hard to find a successful initiation and burst them down.
VP might be able to kind of, they're telegraphing NP right now. They have the Radiant Observer on the high ground by that tier 2 bottom tower, so there's a good chance they see this smoke coming. They saw SVG holding on to it. They saw 2 or 3 heroes grouping up, and yeah, they're ready for this.
Oh, they still managed to get the call onto Lil, but Pasha's set up. He's trying to get somehow a Spike Carapace hit onto the spin, but it just doesn't happen. So he he misses the stun. They are going to be able to catch SVG though, and it looks like maybe a little bit more. Solo catches him right, and Surge goes out from MSS. Cold Snap going to hold him in place for a little bit longer. Lil in play, throws money, look at the call. Eternal Envy on the left-hand side. He's trying to get some of the backlines with the call, but he's already been turned around on. AUI's trying to help him out, focus on Ramsey. Ramsey's just way too big. He's just going to right-click Eternal Envy down as he's out of mana once again, and the crush comes out from Lil, catching the extra hill. AUI just doesn't have any mana to work with. He's going to be focused down, and VP just utterly dominant in this game too. NP just seem to be falling apart in their attempts to be so damn aggressive.
Yeah, they know they need to be, but they're doing it in just kind of too predictable ways. I mean, the one that was right underneath an observer, VP were already there with 3 or 4 heroes ready to counter initiate, and VP, the heroes in the front getting caught, are heroes that can afford to be caught. It's the Nyx who has the character, it's the Smarter who's tanky, and they're finding out
going to die as well. The Omni Slash wasn't even needed in that last engagement. Lil poking his head out is looking for a little bit more. They may still go for a dive, and it looks like they want it. SVG, he's going to be caught here. The crush goes down, and SVG gets torn apart with the amplified damage. Now with the spike carapace, they actually managed to hit MSN. Follow up tornado into the stun. It just gets better and better for VP. And now Eternal Envy, he actually completes the TP into this one. Hopefully he's got a game plan, bounces back to the Spirit, and he will be good. Solo is going to be target of AUI Shadowblade, though. This looks like the free pickoff for NP.
VP just playing hyper aggressive, but this shrine does act as a TP point as Rose is coming back in looking for a follow-up pick-off, but if it's only a Rubik that NP get, they will not be satisfied.
Yeah, certainly not. These two cores that are, were the big leaders in net worth when it comes to the Juggernaut and the Invoker. They've gotten so much further ahead of anybody else in this game.
Early gem pickup for the Rubik, really looking to take control of the map, deny the vision, as well as have a way of dealing with AUI Shadowblade initiation. Really right now it's that Dire Vision which has taken over the Radiant jungle in this bottom side of the map where a lot of the action is happening, so it's like is a useful de-warding tool for them.
Eternal Envy's still working on that same blade mail that he's been trying to get for probably the last 6 to 8 minutes.
Really has been a tale of 2 games in a row where VP are able to just shut him down. Game 1 it was the dual lane with the Ogre, the 2v1, they banned it out thinking that would solve things, but then VP just they get a hero advantage, like the Invoker versus Ember. There's not a whole lot Ember can really do in that matchup. He had some ganks and help from a Crystal Maiden, but even that in itself wasn't enough. And
it does kind of feel like it was just that one bottom lane engagement, right, where NP were supposed to be so strong and able to take advantage of Virtus.Pro's farming items, and it just didn't happen. Instead, they're the ones who end up dying.
It could have been, like, it was one of those fights where if they managed to just burst down that Invoker just that little bit faster, if the Nyx just was a couple seconds later to get in there to counter-initiate, it would have been a fight that they won, but VP just seemed to always be one step ahead and ready for NP to run at them.
We're going to have a third minus. Lil on his Slardar. Slardar's a kind of a hard hero to keep that constant progression in net worth. He is going to be caught though. Rose managed to get him with the call unsuccessfully. Throwing out that Blink Lane. Sunstrike and a jump away. There goes that Rubik showing off with the Stolen Fire remnants from earlier.
Nice little plays, but NP, yeah, they'll guarantee themselves the top tier 1 tower now on the kickoff there, but ultimately VP poised to take a tier 2 themselves in this mid lane.
It's such a high level on the Invoker that he's got these Forge Spirits out. Aghanim Scepter complete, so he's got that extra bit of power despite only being level 17. Say only level 17, but man, it's 23 minutes in. That guy has had such a good experience, net worth progression. AUI. The ball goes out. Knox is going to be the target here. They're trying to pop this thing through after the EMP is covering some of the trail. Ramsey does manage to kill at least the Ember Spirit, and a lot of these heroes are out of mana. So NP, they're running out of firepower. MSN's potentially going to go down. Solo jumps forward with the Flame Spears. Can't quite get it. AUI is going to be able to block him down with pounds, but ultimately, AUI still has to run himself away, gets bashed up, and he dies just like that. NP. MSS may have escaped, but the rest of the cores did not. Once again, Virtus.Pro dominating a team fight and taking trade-offs that are well worth it.
Man, this Jug Invoker are just out of control at this point. Their level advantage, their farm advantage is just getting too much to deal with. An Ag Scepter on no one's Invoker. Juggernaut not just having the Manta, but a Diffusal now as well. He managed to get in there just in time to pick up the gem and then just takes the fight to NP. decisive stuff coming out from VP. They are not afraid to take fights. That was with a kind of 4v5 initiation, and they easily handle NP.
Yeah, that is, I think, one of the big characteristics of Virtus.Pro is that they move forward with confidence at all times.
Well, they can confidently take that bottom tier 2 tower. Still one remaining before they can deal with these shrines, but imagine they may be eyeing off something like Roshan first anyways.
They have got to get some counter vision down. All these aggressive wards from Virtus.Pro going to make things very difficult. In fact, even right now, they're spotting out this AY Slark who's farming away Ancients. Don't think they could really do too much. Well, maybe. They've got a double damage. They're going to try to lead things off with the NPL. Surprise with the Meteor and the Sunstrike. What a beautiful combination by VP.
Wow. Oh, that is insane. That is just some ridiculous plays coming out from those two. Getting that Chaos Meteor combo from that angle. And that'll get them an easy Roshan. They can clean up that top tier 2 tower if they want. They may even be considering a high ground play very soon. They've got a great line of actually great high ground with the Jug who can safely hit buildings. The Late Fury being local with the Forge Spirits, the Alacrity. He's already gone into a heavy Exort build now that he's level 19 already. He's going to soon hit level 20. Get another talent coming into play at this stage of the game. The Jug, same thing. He's going to hit a level 20 talent very soon as well. This is where having a level advantage just gets incredibly snowbally.
They've still got that one tier 2 at the top lane. Another misstep by NP, and they're going to start losing their shrines. All semblance of map control goes out the window. This net worth and experience graph is going to look real good for VP. 15,000 net worth lead. They're going to be able to make the jump onto a Crystal Main. That's going to be quite the easy kill.
That's VP again. They're reading NP. They know that, okay, we're showing here is mid. NP thinks we're pushing out mid or top. They're going to do that classic NP play. Come and split push the bottom lane, farm out jungle. Let's hunt them there. Unfortunately, it only nets them Crystal Maiden. If they'd gone like a bit further, they may have found someone like a Darkseer, which could have earned them something like a tier 3 tower. But even so, they get the kill. They maintain some good lane equilibrium. They have everything pushing out. And they're the ones putting NP under a tremendous amount of stress right now.
And the tough part is, like, Ramsey's, you said he's shown himself in mid, and he's just not a hero that they seem to be able to kill. Like, they have this axe versus him, and they can actually jump and get that initiation, but at this point in time, Ramsey's actually tanky enough that he could survive through that call and then be able to spin out. He's also got the Aegis to be able to work with, so potentially, if they're really feeling comfortable, VP can go ahead and start sieging tier 3s with the Juggernaut in the front lines.
Yeah. I think following these shrines, we'll see them start picking away at the tier 3 towers. Just Alacrity him on the high ground, throw a Blade 3 Manta style for some extra DPS as well. And for now, though, it is going to be Lil just back bottom, keeping the lanes pushed out as much as possible. But we'll probably see him start surging himself towards the rest of his team. But needs to be careful because there is a ganking squad headed his way.
Better move fast to get this quick pick off on Lil before the rest of VP are here. Lil's going to be a target of both the aggression of AEY and Eternal Envy. Standards pick that one up. They'll still lose their extra shrine, though. Not much they can do to stop that one. And we'll get MSS's Blink Dagger. So, high ground potential for NP is going to be all about this Blink vacuum into a call and potential freezing field, I guess, with a little bit of AoE there.
Throw like a triple fire remnant on top with a veil. That's kind of the hope. Get even a blink, or maybe you blink in for a Searing Chains is going to be the other option if you don't want to kind of throw away your life for the kills.
Tire scan.
Just like, are they coming? Is someone in? Is there a Nyx on me?
He learns that there is not. Blink Dagger, Yule Scepter, and a gem on Nyx Assassin.
He's gone full anti-Ember Spirit with his itemization. Another way to purge off that Flame Guard in the front lines as well, but Envy will poke himself out to kill away, but if BP want, they can try and force this high ground here. High ground ward gets planted, and that's something NP haven't been able to deal with just yet.
And he's almost got a Scotty on Ramsey. He's got the double ultimate orb, so he is super tanky. He's got a heavy amount of damage thanks in part to the big Alacrity levels coming out from no one, so this tier 3 tower is just going to drop so quickly. Lil pokes his head out, misses the initiation. He's going to be turned around on, but Rose unable to find initiation as the Tornado EMP burns him out. Ramsey's in hugely deep, but is it going to be punished by it? NP just do not have the control with Rose dead. They're going to focus on the melee rank. He's going to jump in the back, but now a meteor, and you traveled into a trap of your own, and they're trying to fight this one out with AY in the front lines with the BKB. He's already killed one hero, but can he finish off Ramsey's agent and go again? They've kept the melee racks alive, but it looks like VP is more than healthy enough to be able to continue to fight. With the Force Spirits and a little bit of Alacrity help, they should be able to finish this one up. Eternal Levy daring VP to try and go on a miss. He jumps himself back with a Fire Spirit, but they've already lost their mid lane of racks before the 30-minute marker. Terrible sign for NP in this game too.
Yeah, they do the best they can to break the Aegis and get a couple of kills there with a pretty good combo, but really that kind of feels like the best case scenario for them. It means there won't be an Aegis and will prevent VP going for a second lane, but ultimately they find themselves down a lane of racks still, and they just don't have enough damage. They can't really use those Fire Remnants aggressively. We see how annoying Envy can be there because he just blinks in with the Searing Chains to follow up the Axe Blink Call, but he can't aggressively triple Fire Remnant forward because that's just him throwing away his life. And as a result, VP, they've got enough sustain between the mech. They've got maxed out Null Field now as well. They've got too many options as far as catching and pick off that. For Envy to fight, it's going to be entirely hit and run.
Yeah, that is something about this newer Ember Spirit, right, is that he's much more early game focused and does not have this same kind of mid game or late game strength. So we're going to be looking towards the initiation factor that we talked about earlier with the Blink Dagger, and we're going to have to look for AUI to somehow carry this game out when it comes to damage for NP. But it's looking worse and worse as bigger ticket items come in for VP. They've almost got an Octarine for no one. He's just about 700 gold away. The Scotty is complete for Ramses, so he can easily frontline without that Aegis needed. And if they actually get a pick off here, they're wrapping around behind NP up here in this top lane, but NP are trying to play it safe. They're pushing out the wave and then hiding into the trees, ready to make their retreat when necessary.
Oh, Envy.
Maybe, just maybe, Solo can pick him up. Not quite there.
Kind of see where VP are prioritizing. Going for the mech over saying, if he's a blink there, you can get something like that catch, but they realize they don't have to get pickoffs to achieve their goal, which is just going to be taking down these lanes of racks. It's more important to have the sustain, such that the Ember Spirit doesn't burst them down with the Veil. So having the mech achieves the VP game plan overall much better than having some extra pickoff. You get that catch from the Nyx and from the Slaughter, so missing like a maybe one potential kill in the Ember Spirit is something you can kind of forgo here. This VP put themselves in a great position to take game number 2.
Yeah, they seem to be in pretty high spirits from that camera shot, so... And I would be too, right? If I was in VP's position, I've already taken game 1. That was the tough game. This game 2 seems very clearly a gigantic lead for Virtus.Pro. And they've been real solid. I don't feel like the CIS team has ever really dropped the ball when it comes to controlling a game. When they get a lead like this, they don't really throw it away.
This is, yeah, very different VP to past editions. They've got a lot more discipline they had in the past. This is not a team you see losing games when they pick up these early game leads, and they're just very good about playing around Roshan, playing around their timings, and always having the entire team on the same page. There's been some squads where like there's been 1 or 2 players who want to go and get aggressive, while the others will not really all be on board, and this VP squad makes decisions as a unit. We're seeing it here. We saw it in game 1, and VP with Crimson Guard on Slaughter. He's going to have another Helm of the Dominate for the team soon as well. They've got the Octarine and Invoker. The items just keep rolling in. They've got 4 heroes sitting on above 10k net worth. Just the Slark on the NP side in that category.
It seems like NP it may not be the wisest scenario fighting into VP at this point in time, but you also can't just let them sit back and siege either the next tier 3 tower or even wait for the next Roshan. NP are going to have to come out and find an initiation for themselves. They hope to be able to set VP on the back foot.
I feel like you can't even just let them take this rack here. VP are just going to go for it without Aegis. They feel confident enough with the 2.6k HP Jug. He's going for his +8 all stats talent and has a Scotty, so he's got a huge amount of survivability.
Ramses keeping his distance from Eternal Envy for now. Gets chained up, does manage to purge up Eternal Envy. He jumps backwards. AUI surges forward with the BKB trying to pounce onto Ramses, but he just goes ahead and spins, walks away with the BKB now on cooldown. Virtus.Pro can tread back into the enemy base, and the rack is so low.
Yeah, they missed a lot of spells now. BKB goes on cooldown.
AY gets a couple of hits in, just trying to stack up those stats, but I'm pretty sure NP realize that this is just not going to be a lane that they can save anymore. They're going to have to find a better initiation a little bit later on. The back end gets it too, managed to get the call, but already the pushback there of the Invoker. Now the ice on top of that, they managed to get a beautiful counter initiation by Will on the 2, and P are trying to fight this one out, at least get a kill on Will. They will be able to get that much for the rest of VP. Double beyond godlike, then they're looking for even more, pushing deeper. AY managed to pop off his ultimate pop stun. This is his stun, targeted by Eternal Envy. He managed to get himself away. AY's dead. Eternal Envy dropping as well. Triple kill beyond godlike for Ramses, and no one. He'll go ahead and pick up SVG 2 with a triple beyond godlike of his own. Who gets the quad kill? MSS dies. AY left for dinner. Ultra kill beyond godlike for no one. You see exactly why so many teams feared VP. This game 2 looked crisp and clean execution by them.
This is the VP of a month ago. This is the VP that everyone feared going into the Boston Major. This is a VP that is a world